So good afternoon, September 30th, 2013, CISG113, Section 1, Information Security and Privacy. This is day number 1 in the third week of the semester. Okay, let's get started. Good afternoon, welcome back to today's class, CISG 113, Section 1, Information Security and Privacy. So if you look at the white screen, you know that this week is day number 5 and day number 6. This class is fortunate. You have both day number 5 and day number 6, even though we have holidays in between. Okay? And for the other class, I lost 2 days consecutively for 2 weeks. So you look at the topic. Actually, this week we are going to cover, let us say, explore ethics and social responsibility, okay, in the information age. And also we would like to introduce to you the idea of the digital divide. So we have quite a number of tasks to accomplish. And I sent you the teacher's message for today, and actually for this week. And in this teacher's message, I have reminded you, for those of you who have not sent me your email to name your partner, you better do it before this Wednesday, okay? Otherwise, I cannot create a 2-person or 9-pair discussion forum for you. And I also introduced to you in this week's teacher's message the assessment rubrics for the semester. If you go to the assessment rubrics, the link is available in the teacher's message and also in the first week of the class. You can see that we have a set of rubrics, assessment criteria, for you to grab hold of the measures we use in order to earn your points. Remember, today is September the 30th, and you have to turn in the first learning contract artifact in 10 days, okay? And you need to be aware of what you need to turn in the first learning artifacts. So you also need to go back to the submission link, okay? Check the artifacts for learning contract number 1. Basically, it's very simple. Out of the 4 weeks you have done, each week you have done 1 online journal, right? You select 1 out of the 4 to submit, okay? 1 out of the 4. Presumably, the best one you believe for you to earn your score, okay? So before you submit, you need to check the rubric to see if your work fulfills the rubric's criteria to earn your points. And the second one is an online discussion forum that you need to finish with your learning partner, okay? So if you name your learning partner before this Wednesday, you have almost 2 weeks' time to finish your online discussion forum, okay? So your online discussion forum will be finished using the online discussion forum provided, okay, in the Moodle website, okay? You may not be able to see it now because I'm supposed to give it now, but some of you did not name your learning partner, so I give you 2 more days. Until Wednesday, I'm going to release it to you. And if on Wednesday, you still did not give me the learning partner, then I will ignore you first and I will let the whole class use the pair discussion forum first. I do not want to delay anymore, okay? So you have to exchange your set of OIAs with your partner's set of OIA, okay, throughout the 1 to 2 weeks discussion. The topic is really up to the 2 of you, okay? Because you can select any topic from the 4 weeks of study, or you can select some topic from the 4 weeks. It's really up to you. Whatever topic you select, there is no criteria of how many topics we need to discuss. But the criteria will tell you whichever topic you choose to discuss, you must follow the OIA criteria: observations, interpretations, and applications. And the reason is you must learn something from your discussion forum, and you must exchange your OIA for a specific topic with your partner small IA for his or her specific topic. So normally, because between the two of you in your pair, I'm expecting at least two topics. One topic chosen by you to be discussed with your learning partner, and another topic chosen by your learning partner to be discussed with you. So basically something like that. Did you see the meaning of it? Okay, so it's very exciting, very interesting, and it's a disciplined way for you to learn. Okay, because you will give what you can, will help for your learning partner to discover his or her chosen topic, and your learning partner is also to give his or her help to you to discover your chosen topic. And all those chosen topics could be selected from the reading list. Okay, those items you have finished reading. Okay, so it's very important. So if you look at this particular week, if you look at the readings week number 3, okay, you can see that reading for week number 3 contain 1, 2, 3 important chunks. 3 chunks. Okay, the first chunk is what is ethics in the information age. You select whatever topic that makes your interest. Okay, good afternoon. The second chunk is what is social responsibility in the information age. So the key for the first is ethics. The second is social responsibility. And the third is what is digital divide in the 21st century. Now we are going to explore each of these 3 topics in this week. First, what is meant by ethics? Ethics, it's basically a philosophical topic which helps us to identify right from wrong based on some norms of the society. For example, ethics tells us, and it's also the law, that I should not steal anything from anybody. If I steal anything from anybody, I not only did something wrong, I actually have offended the law. The law tells us you cannot do things like that. Stealing is not allowed. Ethics tells us sometimes if there is no law directed tells us what to do. So ethics tells us if I see my friend fall down and hurt him or herself, should I say, giggle, giggle, ha ha, good? No, we cannot do something like that. That ethically is incorrect to do that. So ethics in a soft sense, ethics in a hard sense. When we talk about ethics here, we're talking about ethics in the information age. That means, what do I have to behave or lie with respect to information revealed to me, or with respect to the possible behavior that I could do in terms of someone else's information. Well, another term that is very important for this week is social responsibility. I think this is not a new term, but you know that. You live in an apartment, I live in an apartment, or you live in your room, I live in my room. So every day, I just put all of my trash, throw it outside my room, in the corridor. So this is the way I clean up my room. Okay, is it okay? If everybody does something like this, the whole corridor is going to be full of rubbish. No one likes it. It's not hygienic. So the idea of social responsibility is I have certain responsibility which is shared by all the others to keep the corridor clean and to keep my room clean. I cannot make it uncomfortable for myself. I cannot make it uncomfortable for my neighbors. Social responsibility is something we share in common. Okay? As a legitimate, responsible individual in the society. And here we address the social responsibility, in particular, to information age. So what are the necessary items of interest we need to keep in mind when we talk about social responsibility in the information age? Okay, the first thing is digital divide. You know what is meant by a divide? If I call this is a gray gap, okay, no one is going to cause it. So you cannot jump from here to there. There's a big divide. A divide is something that is going to tell you are on this side, you are on the other side, okay? The very famous story of Martin Luther King in 1960 in the United States is the racial divide. Here is a restaurant. On this side is the white, on the other side is the black. Here is a restroom. This is for the white only, no black. So you see the meaning of it. The digital divide means in this contemporary world, there are some of us who have all the privilege to use computing resources, including the internet. But there are also those who are very much poor enough not to be able to afford any of this. And even the city does not have it. Okay? So there are those people who cannot definitely imagine the joy of going online, surfing on the internet because they don't have the computer, they don't have the resources, and the government, the city does not even have any of this infrastructure. So in the 21st century, we live in a city called Macau, which is rich enough in such a sense we have all these kind of resources for us to use. We can hook up to the world, but within China, we cannot hook up to the world in some time. We cannot use Facebook, we cannot use YouTube, okay? Here we have a digital divide. That means it's a dividing line between the haves and the have-nots in the digital age. Okay, now these are the three major chunks of study we're going to explore today. So, before I invite you to watch the short video of today, may I just invite you to get ready to fold your A4 piece of paper into A5 piece of paper. This is the routine you need to do. And with that, using the white paper, not the green one, okay? Using the white paper, every one of you grab one A4 piece of paper and throw that into A5 pieces of paper. Okay, actually just one big piece into 8 small pieces, top and bottom. We're going to give you some very simple introductions of ethics of internet privacy. Okay, it's a very short video, and I hope you can grab some important points of this because this is the basic lessons on ethics. Ready? Okay, here we go. Now ask yourself the very important question. You know the basic ideas of ethics with my introduction just minutes ago. Now you're going to watch a very simple video on the ethics of the internet privacy. Remember, you have a very simple mission when you watch any video. You need to capture at least one idea out of the video, the idea of your own, and you put that idea into one A5 piece of paper, and that is the basis for your discussions with your table members. Okay? You must make sure that whenever I invite you to read or watch a short video with that piece of A5 paper, you're ready to capture ideas. And that is one way we want to ensure that you learn to capture ideas. Okay? Okay, I guess the video is almost over. Let me give you an example to kick off your discussions with 3 to 5 minutes. Okay, this is a very interesting example. I was in Hong Kong at the beginning of August with my family, spending holidays together. So my kids love to go to the very high observer platform in CISG113 in Hong Kong. You see, in Hong Kong, they have 2 very tall buildings on one side of the island. On both sides of the island, actually, it's more than 130 floors tall. So we went there, and we bought some tickets. But in the process of doing that, our whole family with forward a set of forms to fill in. And I say, it's supposed to be general forms that I'm going to fill in. But as I try to fill in the forms, I say, there's something wrong with that. The form asks us to know where I live, what I do, what is my salary level, how long I'm going to spend here, my ID number. I say, what's the use of collecting this data? And I asked the gentleman forwarding the form to me. They said, oh, this is for our personal use only. I say, personal use only for what? The company use. I say, for what? And they say, according to the practice of our senior management, we need to invite our customers visiting our observer tower to fill this form. I say, no, I don't think I'm going to fill that in, because once I fill that in, you have all of my private information, and I never know how you're going to use it. And the young guys there, oh, we do not know that, but we were just told to do it. So if you don't want to fill in, let me phone my senior manager. I say, why do you have to phone them? I'm paying you money to buy the ticket for the observer deck, and you're asking to fill in the forms. I say, I'm begging you to give me a chance. And the little guy all of a sudden realized that, oh yes, he might be doing something wrong. And so he called his senior manager, and the senior manager, no, you don't need to ask the client to fill that form if they don't want to fill that. You see the meaning of that? And you see, in Hong Kong, I use the electronic money card called Octopus. Okay, in Chinese they call Bada Tong. Just 2 years ago, the chief executive officer of that Bada Tong company was charged with a very severe inappropriate behavior as a senior manager or as a CEO of the company. She ordered the collections of data of all the people in Hong Kong who purchased the Bada Tong Octopus card with all the private information. And she signed an agreement with a marketing company, which is doing business with Octopus, that the whole set of customer data could be transferred to that company for transactions amount of several millions of dollars. And the Octopus company can earn millions of dollars just by transferring the data to the other company. And then this act was discovered, and the government was embarrassed. And that lady, who was supposed to be CEO of the Octopus company, was discharged. But she was not prosecuted because the law did not say this is wrong. Ethics sits right there. Okay? And then I look at the ticket I bought with my family to go up to CISG113 to observe the view of Hong Kong. I discovered that they have a simple terms there. You are invited to fill in a form for us to collect data. And then if you're willing to fill in that form, in that form, when I look at it very clearly, it was designed to trick you. That there is an item there that said, I'm willing to disclose my information to the company. If you happen to take yes, that they have all the right to do with your information. And you see the meaning of that. You see the meaning of that. It's an example of ethical decisions by senior management. You are the people there. You live in Hong Kong and you come to Hong Kong. It's supposed to be a free society. But different kind of companies different kind of business practice knows that they can make extra money by collecting information from you and by reselling the information to our marketing company. So this is a very interesting example of ethics in the information age. You are willing to submit your information to those companies in an unknowing manner when you're doing something as simple as traveling to a tourist spot. Okay? So this is an example I want to give you. Now think about this. Discuss in your table for 5 minutes. Do you or have you ever experienced something similar? Okay? That you are surrendering your private information to some company that you might have encountered in your life that you are not aware of, particularly in Macau. Let me give you one last example. Each one of us has a Macau ID, okay? About 10 years ago, when you have to do withdraw money from a bank, they will take a look at your ID. They sometimes zero your ID. They have a copy of your ID and attach it to the deposit or withdrawal slip. But now they couldn't do it because of the Office of Privacy. They know they cannot do it. But in some sense, there are certain companies still doing practice like this. It's really up to us to be cautious about whether or not we should surrender our private information. So now, may I just invite you to have 5 minutes to discuss about yourself at the table, these issues of ethics in the information age. It's sometimes not law-breaking, but it's just the issues of right and wrong. Okay, I've given you enough of the examples now. It's really up to you to exchange your ideas of this, and then we come to the second issues. Ethics and technology.
Ethical behavior is obviously
We're trying to get information from your friends in your table first, because we have several items of interest I would like to see for your personal experience before we carry on with the conversations. Of course, the next item is what we call the 10 commandments of computer ethics. It's very interesting. It's about 2 minutes and 30 seconds. If you have any experience you want to share with your friends in the table,
Well, I was angered by those junior staff in the selling stations, those tickets. Just give you the form to fill it in. I asked why I have to give those forms. Have you ever experienced something like this inside mainland China? People ask you to submit your personal information for no clear reasons. Many very interesting examples on the internet. You can really just go ahead and explore it. And our idea is to make sure you're fully aware of the issues behind those acts or expected behavior. You might have one or two typical examples like this. Have you ever experienced something like this in your life? That's very good. What about you? You got some ideas after listening to the examples? Okay, that's good. Just to let you know, like some more information. Your one member's busy today, right? It's very good. Yes, it's long. In the information age, the practical problems in using and collecting information must be very closely monitored and examined. So, if you ever surrender your private information to someone or company, really? Oh, yes. When you apply for a free email account, you take those terms of reference and sample it. It's all right. Do you have a free email account? Are you using a free email account? Normally they ask to accept the terms of reference. Have you ever checked them all? Are you using Google, Gmail? And what do you observe when you use Gmail? Whenever you try to reply to an email of some kind, you see that next to the email they have some kind of advertisement with a theme very close to what you write. Looks like someone is looking at your content or writing, give you some recommendations. Do you observe that? What does it mean? If you're using an iPhone or smartphone for some time, you will have some experience that some kind of very sensitive advertisement is delivered to you. It's very close to your acts or choices, sometimes the personalizations concept, collecting data. That's very interesting. Alright, so I'll let you time to listen to me. I don't want to disturb you this time. Okay, I think we've gone through the first 5 minutes of the discussion. Now let's take a look at the 10 commandments of computer ethics and see how many of those things you personally have done on your own or not have done on your own. You see, there are 10 things they have advised you not to do, and each of these 10 things are given you in less than 30 seconds. Okay? That means you really have to go back to review it. But may I ask you this question? What do you remember out of the 10 things? Which particular things called commandment that has shown you that you remember very clearly? Without paying attention to the details, okay? Which one? Okay, do not download illegal software. And do you remember other things? Do not steal information. And do you remember one thing? Thou shalt not use a computer to harm others. How can you use a computer to harm others here? Steal the photo? Yeah. Make fun of it. Okay, this is one way. And currently, there is an idea called cyberbullying or cyber stalking. When we use the word bully, is the big guy bullying the little guys. When we talk about stalking, is adult hurting adults. Okay, how do we do that? They give false information about a person. They try to speak language which is insulting to the other persons in front of the community which is online, making you feel very bad. And indeed, a lot of the kids or teenagers committed suicides just because of the cyberbullying. Okay, the story that I invite you to read last time on digital nation, remember? When you study the story there, the 6-minute story talks about a small kid just before he entered teenage year, and then he fell in love with using the intellect to talk with someone. But that guy is actually a cyber bully. He put things up, make the kid feel very bad, although it's not physically, but psychologically hurt the kid so much that one day the kid shared the story with his father. His father did not pay a lot of attention to that, but it continued for several months. The kid's psychological being was hurt in such a way that the kid killed himself in the bathroom in order to end that kind of psychical attack. And the father realized that his kid killed himself, understand no reasons for that. And one day the father went online to his son's social networking site and discovered the whole history of the attack that his son has been enduring. And the father realized he did not know how severe it is when his son asked him right now. Okay? Cyberbullying is one thing, using the computer to hurt a lot of kids. And today, even in Macau and Hong Kong, even in China, we recognize similar stories. So, we have gone through two important topics. One is ethics, right from wrong in the information age regarding the use and collections of information. The second is the right, the do's and don'ts of not use computer to do what, which is based on expected behavior. We talk about this in terms of examples. Okay? Now, let's try to see another very interesting video called Computer Ethics Online Privacy. Okay? Do you have privacy online when you go online in your computer? Why they say that?
Are you going to upload that photo to the internet?
Sure.
You don't mind people seeing you like that?
Do you think I'm stupid? My pictures can only be seen by my friends on Fiesta.
How many friends do you have on Fiesta?
175.
Are there other people in the photo okay with the picture being uploaded?
Well, if just my buddies can see it, there's no problem. Besides, it was a party. If they let somebody take their picture, it can't be that big a deal. If you get your picture taken, it's to show it off, right?
Okay, but how well do you really know all of your online friends? How do you know you can trust them?
Well, I don't know all of them. Some are good friends, others are acquaintances. But I decide who makes the list.
Right, but any of those 175 people can copy a picture with a single keystroke and then do whatever they want to do with it.
Well, yeah. I guess so. But what would they do that for?
And if those friends share your picture with other people?
Nah, they wouldn't do that.
Have you asked them not to? Do they know that you don't want other people to see that picture? They might think it's just a perfectly normal picture and that you don't care who sees it.
Well, since you put it like that. But look, you're driving me crazy. You're paranoid. I've already configured my privacy settings, and that's enough. What more do you want?
And if someone sneaks into your private zone?
Impossible. They need to steal my password. And I haven't given it to anybody, and I've made it difficult to guess, just in case. Besides, I update my antivirus software all the time to make sure Trojans who steal them won't get through. You're taking a pro.
And the other 175, are they also pros? They also do all those steps to make sure their information is secure.
No, but
Your private space that no one can get into doesn't really sound that secure, does it?
in social networks, your online privacy can be affected by others. The privacy of others also depends on you.
So you got some ideas, okay? So you got some ideas. Let's continue. What can you do to protect your privacy online? So here we go. You have 12 minutes, okay, up to 5 o'clock. Each table, you have already watched 3 different videos on ethics and some of the ideas on privacy. I would like each table to come together one paragraph of advice to the whole class on what ethics is all about and what you can do to protect your privacy online, okay? Remember, each table now have a very simple task up to 5 o'clock. Each table need to come up with the idea of ethics and then some advice on how you can protect your privacy online. Okay? So definitely, if you want to accomplish this task, you need to put together the ideas of each member in your table. What is meant by ethics in the information age, and what you can do to protect your privacy online. Very simple 2 questions. What is meant by ethics in the information age?
what you can do to protect your privacy online. Okay, you can use the information given you in the free video with very simple sentence or with very simple ideas, presentable ideas, okay? And when you finish for each table, you put those in a green piece of paper on one side, okay? Now you need to transfer information from your white piece of paper into the green piece of paper. What is ethics in the information age? What you can do to protect your privacy online. Okay? Simple ideas. You might want to emphasize the idea of ethics, and you might want to emphasize the importance of keeping your privacy online, and what can you suggest to protect your privacy online. And when you have finished, put the ideas in a green piece of paper. On each table, you need to do something like this. So very good. I see a lot of you are putting down ideas already. Yeah, that's very good. The first question should not be that difficult. What is ethics in the information age? Ethics, right? The second one is based on what can you do to protect your privacy online? And then we're going to move on to social responsibility. Guess maybe we could get started with some tables.
That's very good. 2 or 3 tables already doing. Yes. Wow, very good. All right. So since we're going to reserve 5 minutes for your sharing, and then we still have 3 more minutes left and you can complete on that green piece of paper. So after 3 minutes, we come to invite each table to help us to understand your versions of it. The 2 questions. Well, I hope that you have already spent some time at home watching the documentaries recommended for you as a last class, okay? So maybe, yes. I mean, will you go first? It's okay. After 3 minutes. Yes, very good. The most important thing is I see that a streams of ideas are coming up from your discussions. And then what I have to do is making sure that you do not lose those ideas. Very good. I see most of you already. So let's start it with the sharing per table. Could I invite the table, the 3 ladies there, could you help us to understand your table's ideas and ethics in the information age? And also what we can do to protect our privacy online. What foolish things we should not do, better say. Yes. Yes, you can do it. Thank you. Introduce us to who you are. Yes.
May I introduce myself first? Okay, my name is Magnolia.
Magnolia, thank you.
And I want to tell about our group's discussion reason.
Thank you.
First, I would like to First, I would like to talk about the situation nowadays. For first, there is no policeman online to check the security of personal information nowadays.
Okay.
And second, everything you do online can make online companies and every users to gain your personal information, like where you live and who you are and what you do every day. And the last one is many people nowadays don't have the thought of to protect their information safety.
Okay. Do not have that mentality to keep save the information, right?
Yes.
Okay.
And the second part I want to talk about commandment of the
Commandments, yes.
commandment. I will list something. I can't remember all of the 10.
Okay.
The first one, we can't use our computer to harm others, like make fun of others' photos and something like that.
Yes.
And the second one, we shouldn't snoop around in others' field, and we shouldn't use computer to copy others' works when we didn't
Yes.
pay for it.
Okay.
And also, we shouldn't interfere with others' computer work.
Okay.
Okay, and the last part I want to say about is the way to protect our personal information safety.
Okay.
We should pay attention on what we do online, such as we can't upload our photos randomly.
Okay.
Because you don't know whether you can trust your friends.
Yes.
Yes. And also, the others' information security is depend on us.
Okay.
So we should protect each other's information online.
Yes. What is the simplest way for us to protect our own information? Any suggestions?
The way.
It's okay. It's okay. When you have the idea, share with us. Okay. Okay. So, could you pass the microphone to one table of the choice?
Any?
Yes. You pass it to any table. It's up to you. Yes. Thank you. Yes. Thank you very much, Magnolia. And this table, please introduce yourself.
Hello, I'm Naira.
Naida, thank you.
We find internet is powerful and useful. There are many apps and systems help us to do many things. However, there are many risks online. For instance, you are able to control your personal information. You send out over the internet or the personal information about you, what you allow other people to access. Just as you share the information or photos on Facebook, and don't think what all of your personal information could be deleted. Thus, protect your privacy information online is very important. And that the privacy information of another people also depends on you. There are some tips to protect your privacy. One, don't use the same password more than one internet. Always
Yes.
change your password.
Yes, always change our password. Yes.
Know who you share information with.
Okay, it's very good. Make sure.
And the cost of your personal information security, especially your social security number. 4. Ask questions before deciding to share your personal information.
Yes. Don't share
And
these.
monitor your bank account, credit cards, statements. and log off your computer.
Yes, not on our computer when it's not used. Okay, any more addition?
That's all.
Thank you very much, Leila. Could you pass the microphone to one table of your choice? Yes, you choose. Okay, very good, thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Help us to know who you are. Yeah, Leila.
Afternoon, everyone. In our team's opinion, my name is K-E-Y.
Key, thank you.
In our group's opinion, the responsibility is true of the people, not the just one, especially the really one. You didn't keep your private information in the online network and make them yourself with the handle or another can steal the information easily. Just like me, I love taking photos and I will put it on the Facebook and
Yes.
and someone steal my photos
Okay.
and they not ask me.
Okay.
So if I have some important photo, I will not for everyone, just for my friend can see.
Okay.
Yes.
So you put it in a secret, maybe a small, very close group, right?
Yeah,
Only
yes.
few people can share that.
Yes.
Yes, it's very good. So any other ideas from the table? No? Okay, could you pass the microphone to one of the two remaining tables? Thank you very much.
My name is Catherine.
Yes.
When using computer, you should still know what is right and wrong. For
Okay.
example, you shouldn't use the computer to harm people, like cyberbullying, because on extreme cases, people commit suicide.
Yes.
How to protect your own privacy. When using social network sites, for example, the Facebook, only add the people you know, but not strangers.
Okay.
And be careful when uploading photos.
Yes.
Do not always share your daily activities online.
Okay.
And use a more difficult password, for example, adding numbers or symbols.
Okay.
And this is the end of my sharing.
Thank you. Very useful indeed. Yes. The last table. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Sharita.
Sharita.
Yes. We think at first is we must do anything in society according to the rule. According to rule, we think this internet the internet is a large range of the world. We can't do what we can't think who will do anything in the world. So we must pay attention to it. When we need to fill some information from website, we must first know more about the information clearly. Then you can continue to do it. What can we do? Can protect our privacy. For example, we can use some picture don't have our head to become our profile pictures.
Okay.
Then we can change our very long password. Nobody know about that. Then you can lock our account just can see our friend can see it's okay. Then very secure. And this is our information. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So we need to create an avatar. So we put the avatar as our picture. People cannot
No one
recognize.
will know you.
Yeah, sounds very interesting. Okay, we thank you for all the table, contributing some ideas. And I think these are very useful. So allow me at this point to summarize a little bit before we move on to the next topic in today's class. And that it's a little bit interesting on life in the information age, okay? A little bit of computer history, sure. Oh, those big computers throughout the world. 1969. 1971. What's this? 1975. PC. What's that? 1981. Laptop. Captured by the webcam. 1993, PDA concept. That's a PDA, personal digital assistant. Today, your phone is a PDA. 1993, 3D games. 1998, digital satellites. 2009 gigabytes internet data, Guardian. $2.7 billion Google search provided. 12 trillions of equipment to run the digital universe. What will life be like in 10 years? Now this is 2013. Can you imagine? Can you imagine what is going to become of your living in 10 years from today? Maybe you do not even come to the classroom, you just stay at home and you advertise projected into virtual classroom, and as your presence, and you go to the virtual university to submit your homework. You enter this room, not a physical room, but a virtual room. It could be. So, now, this is a very brief summary of life in the information age. So allow me to just go back to do some housekeeping on today's important lessons. Let's take a look at the student-parent information for this past week. Look at your name there, okay? If your name is there, the pair name is, for example, Layla is pair 06 together with Chi-Kit. And Kathleen and Pu-Ying Kai in pair 08. But Horace, I cannot see you. Are you here, Horace, today? No. And then you can see that there's some persons in this room who have not been paired yet. May I just invite you to use some time here to pair yourself together? Mostly, for example, Shu, are you here? Shu Xiangzu. Shu, are you here? Can you pair with someone? Have you got a learning partner yet? No. Can you look for someone here now? Now let's try to see. Because it's time for you to be paired, okay? Let's see. Patty, are you here, Patty? Have you got yourself paired already? Okay. Which person? Have you sent me an email? You? Please send me an email, okay? Otherwise, I don't have records. All right. So, are you Tom? Yes. Oh, Peggy and Tom. Okay. So that means when Peggy and Tom are paired together, so what's left is let's see, Shu and Horace. Yes, Shu and Horace. But Horace has not been here for long. Have you seen Horace? No? That means you're the only person left with Horace. Okay? So, make sure you send me an email, Tom and Patty, okay? Send me an email. Send me an email. Have you sent it? Oh, really? But I have not received. Oh, anyway, but I'm going to update prior now. Let me see if I update now. This is very important. We do it now. Yes. Oh, I'm going to update an email, update the listing in a minute. And then I would like you to make sure that I send out the teacher's message today, which contains the GE program intended learning outcomes. Okay, actually, you should have reviewed them before. And the 3 course learning objectives, as well as the 6 course intended learning outcomes. And then the list is already there. And please pay attention to the assessment rubrics, okay? This is the assessment rubrics for you to study to make sure that when you submit your online journal, you know what is expected of you, all right? So these are the way to give you a score. 4, 3, 2, 1. 1 is the beginning, 2 is the developing, 3 is the accomplished, and 4 is the exemplary, something like this. Okay? And then you also need to pay attention to the OIA, that in your journal, you must include the observations, interpretations, and applications for the topic you select, and you must provide at least 3 other references which is related to the topic you select. Normally, you can get it from the same set of readings there, okay? And then, I would like you to make sure that since you should have a partner studying for this week, so next week, when you sign up for your next week's sharing, it will be on each pair, okay? When you come to do the sharing next week, it will be on each pair. 2 of you need to share, not 1 person, okay? So when you do the sharing next week, it's on each pair, okay? On each pair, all right? So it's up to you
how much you're going to share within that 5 minutes with your peer, okay? So that will be very good. Now let me just take the attendance for today, and before we close today's class, all right. It will be very interesting. Albert, yes. Anna, yes. Anna is there. Yes, thank you. Horace is not here. Lexi is not here today. Okay, Lexi is not here. Long Home, thank you. Kathleen, thank you. And then Fancy, yes. Hin, are you here, Hin? Thank you. Tom, yes. And Charlie's, thank you. Lei Lam, thank you. Lam, yes, thank you. Layla, let me see. Lei Lam, are you here? Lei Lam? Lei Lam, thank you. Patty, thank you. Garland, thank you. Sophie, thank you. Charlita, thank you. And then Wang Nei, are you here today? No, not here. Okay, Zhu, yes. Magnolia, thank you. And John Ru Yu, thank you. So thank you very much for coming. Now, may I invite you? Now, before we go, make sure you come back and watch this Digital Nations at home, okay? We have broadcast to you some minutes of Digital Nation last time, but I would like you to make sure that you read some of this. Let's go to Virtual World, okay? If we go to Virtual World, let me just show you this 6 minutes video, okay? Can I show you this? Yes. I'll give you 6 more minutes.
PBS viewers like you, funding for your content and the content creation and the product reaction. Digital Nation is brought to you by the Horizon Foundation.
Watch.
So, just before we turn on the equipment and get it all started, we're going to do what we've done before. I'm going to have you start in a humble environment. Let's put the headset on. All of the bells and whistles that come to virtual reality are simply designed to help the combat veteran revisit the traumatic experience as best as possible. It feels very much like a real wrestling. Equipment in and of itself really resonates with some of the younger veterans, and I think it allows us to get more people that might be able to treatment. So,
I'm broadcasting episodes from the Digital Nations concerning virtual reality therapy to the combat soldiers in the United States. Why is they not understand the impact of today's technology?
it's working hard as they were. So I can accordingly set up variables on a scale of 0 to 10.
Now discover what he's doing.
Right now. So 1 or 2, 1 or 2. My goal is to keep them at a consistent level of anxiety and stress so that they can then adapt to it.
When you start entering some of these highly populated towns like this here, your senses kind of get heightened. And, you know, anything that looks like a wire, a hole, with that right there, you know, with that street light, with that rock, that's it.
Because it's a sensory experience, you have all these doors which you might be able to open. which might help trigger that reaction. Visual might not, but the sound might. The sound might not, but the scent might. All of them together. When I look at those visuals, my first thought is that's pretty good, but I'm certainly not buying that that's a rack or that's a real Humvee. And so it really surprised me when a number of the veterans were, looked at those visuals and you can see, like, gulp. And it's not, and none of them are saying this is exactly what my Humvee looked like, or this is exactly what that road looked like. None of them would say that. But what's happening is that it's triggering a memory, it's triggering a visceral experience.
Person on the bridge was firing back at me. There was one moment, it wasn't so much the person on the bridge, but I recall that they were off to the right of the bridge. And they were waving at us with an American flag. And ambush fire came around and we basically continued through. I think that's a 5.
I'm looking for all kinds of cues to when someone is distressed. Tightening of the jaw, how they're gripping that weapon. Under certain circumstances, their whole posture will change. They're leaning forward and they've got that gun, and you can see something's happening to them emotionally at that point.
That kind of pushed my stress level recently, just with that last one.
Yeah.
To 6.
You appreciate that?
Yeah. That'll kind of bring back to my experiences on the road.
Any specific experience? Describe it, especially.
We were jammed on a traffic road, just got ordered to stop, and there was just hundreds, it looked like almost thousands of vehicles lined up, and there was a blockage with this food truck, and basically, the thing that you understood enough after being there for a while was you didn't ever have a convoy, you never want to stop. If you were stopped for some reason, that was not a good sign. And we were stopped like 10 minutes. Sitting there and nothing happened. I don't know anything more frightening. Because it's that anticipation, At least if you had something, showing itself, then you had a target, It was that anticipation. Those 10 minutes just lasted. They lasted like, a year.
These are their worst fears. They're in some ways the worst experiences humans can go through.
And it wasn't until we cleared that road and started to actually move that we started to hear that ambush fire coming from both sides, actually.
When you see them face up to it, challenge themselves, work their way through it, it's a thrilling experience.
Want you to describe for me now what your feel was sitting in that convoy down there?
It's just been a tremendously rewarding experience for me to see not only the ways in which I can check off that their symptoms have been reduced, but that it generalizes into other areas of their life and they feel much more capable, much stronger, and that they can face whatever it is the world will throw at them.
Right now, that you're reading.
So perhaps let me jump in to add into a little bit on the episode here. You're seeing an episode in which you see a soldier who returned from a combat in the United States battle, perhaps in Iraq or Afghanistan. And then he went through an experience of life and death when he was patrolling along the streets, keeping order there, but he was ambushed, okay? He was ambushed in such a way that he had that kind of psychological problem inside himself that he cannot live up his life as normally as expected. And so they're using this technology to help him to face up to the same challenge, to allow him a second chance to lift that psychological burden. Now this is one way we're asking this question. In today's world, you see part of the story of how we use this technology to heal what we call a post-traumatic stress syndrome, okay? And the follow-up episode on that particular documentary tells you another story of how you can fight a battle as if you're playing a computer game. You are riding a bomber thousands of miles away from the battlefield, and you drop the bomb just like when you press on the computer games. That is an ethical problem. You watch and you can see the meaning of it. I think I have to stop right here. Sorry to hold you that long, but I want to just show you that couple of minutes to think about the ethical problems behind this. They use computer games as a new strategy to fight a battle. They use the same kind of technology to heal the soldier who came back from the battle. But is it ethical to do that? Is it the best way? Now think about this. We are going to talk about it on Thursday, all right? So that's it for today's class on September the 30th, 2013. CISG113, Section 1, Information Security and Privacy. Stay tuned.